Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher. Tonight, car clubs in the DMV. When you think about car clubs, you might picture chrome rims, custom paint jobs, demonstrative hydraulics, and high-powered engines. But my guests tonight say car clubs are much more than just about diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Woo-woo. They are made up of men and women who are not only car enthusiasts, but community builders, safety advocates, and volunteers dedicated to giving back. We're putting the spotlight on the heart behind the engines and the service behind the steering wheel. My guests are Michael Summers, founding member and president of Top Flight Corvette Club. Pocahontas Thompson is the vice president, and club member Tommy Ratcliffe also joining the conversation. Thank you all so much for joining the conversation. How far did I take you back with that? I don't know.
Well, before I was born, but
I caught on and I said, "Oh my goodness, little red Corvette."
Well, already we have established that this is a multi-generational membership. Which is always very, very good to hear. Thank you all so much for joining this conversation. I do want to start with, just some of the basic questions. Michael, what prompted you to start this club and even to be a member? What makes you passionate about it?
Well, I'm definitely passionate about it, but I can't take the credit for starting the club. I'm one of the founding members who came along in the very beginning. We had several other members who had the dream to put this Corvette club together, and I just happened to be there standing in the Home Depot parking lot on Central Avenue when we decided to put this together, and that was in 2006. And we've been together ever since. Now, some of the members have moved on, but the name and the faces some are still here, and we have new faces, brighter energy, people that are energetic and excited about being a part of this organization.
Mm-hmm. Did you belong to a car club of any sort before joining in 2006?
No, but I grew up in New York, and my oldest brother had a bicycle club called Road Nights, and we used to ride with him and his friends. And then when we became of age, my oldest brother bought a Corvette, and then I bought a Corvette, and my other brother bought a Corvette, and then we traveled the road together with some of the friends who I'm still friends with today. One lives here in Virginia, and he grew up with us in New York also. Well, two of them are here.
Tommy, when people often talk about car clubs, particularly those who are on the outside looking in, and I'm certainly, one of them, most people think it's just about showing off the cars because that is, those are the optics. That's what you see for the most part. What do you wish that people understood about what the mission of this club is?
I would think that they need to know what we stand for, number one. Not only that the cars show very well, but we do a lot of charitable work. We do a lot of events, charity rides and whatnot. We help the homeless as much as we can. We make donations. We do a whole lot of that. And these are some of the things that a lot of people just don't know. They just think we just ride up and down the street, but it's a lot more to that.
Mm-hmm. Because last week, I had the honor of talking to members of the Buffalo Soldiers Maryland chapter.
I remember that.
And thank you for listening. And it seems to me that, the car clubs, the Buffalo Soldiers, a lot of the motorcycle clubs, for example, everyone is doing the kind of same thing with a different perspective. And where this is an opportunity for camaraderie, developing common interests, but at the bottom line is less about what brings you together and the kinds of things that you are putting out. Am I right about that, Pocahontas? Am I on point with that?
You're absolutely on point with that. We're very passionate about giving back to our community, and we donate to many local charities. We do things such as drive-bys, put smiles on faces. We go to nursing homes. We do prom drive-bys. We donate to national organizations, but we're really passionate about helping our local community. And we do things of that nature. And I wish people knew how passionate we were. I mean, we're so passionate to the point when we do presentations about things we want to donate to, before the presentation is even done, people are moving to approve, present company included, move to approve the donation or the activity or the event that we're supporting. So we're very passionate about giving back to the DMV.
Well, I know that particularly with WHUR that you've participated in the coat drive. We know that there have been other, your organization, I believe, and many other car clubs have also participated for years in our Food to Feed initiative that we do every November, to feed those people who have food insecurity and the like. But I guess my thing is that, and Michael, you may be able to answer this a little bit better since you were there kind of at the beginning of this particular club. When the club came together, was there a discussion about giving back to the community? Was that part of that beginning foundation, or was it more of, hey man, I got a red one, you got a white one, I've got a purple one, or what have you, and let's just talk about cars?
No, actually, that's a good question. We started giving back. I challenged my club members, and I let them know that we used to meet at a place called Tucker's, and I challenged them years ago about giving back. And I told them that I was going over to Iverson Mall to donate some toys. And then it just grew. The people that were with us at the time said, that's a great idea. We started putting money together in the parking lot. And then it just grew into what we do now. So every year, Christmas time, we show up deep because it's about giving back, and that's how we get our blessings. So that started several years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday, but it just took off. And we're a generous club. We give back to the community. That's something that we know is important. We know that we're all adults, and you never know who's watching you. And, just because you're driving that Corvette doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to don't think you're better than anyone else. You should be able to reach back and help out in the community. And that's what we do. And we put a smile on children's faces when we show up to the different schools, when we show up to Iverson Mall in December. It's just an exciting time.
Tommy, you were nodding your head.
Yeah, I was in agreement with him. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, but share your thoughts with what you were thinking when Michael was talking.
Well, not only just doing that, but like he was just saying about the schools that we go to and whatnot. For an example, Rosa Parks Elementary. We went there one day. I know for a fact we donated 2 years ago all the elementary school kids uniforms. So these are some of the things that we do, and we did that and whatnot. So when you ask the question, what it is that we do and how other people will, what it is that they don't understand when they just see the cars out there with the shining wheels, these are some of the things that we do. We go into a neighborhood, and where in that neighborhood, it's a lot of kids that need certain items and whatnot, and that's one of the reasons why we chose that school and whatnot. So we look out to go out and help a lot of people and whatnot, and we're just sympathetic to that.
Mm-hmm. Pocahontas, talk to me about what you believe the role of women in these car clubs is. And I guess the reason why I ask is because, traditionally, car clubs, and more specifically motorcycle clubs, were the exclusive domain of men. But now, there are a friend of mine is in a motorcycle club, for example. I need 4 wheels personally, but but she's doing her thing, and in her motorcycle club, there are, I think, 30% of the members are women, and they're taking on leadership roles and the like. And you, in this particular club, you were also in a leadership role. So talk to me about that.
Sure. So I am an avid car lover. I grew up around cars. It's in my blood. I'm not just a driver. I am very, very passionate about all cars. But I'll give you a story, actually. So, recently we went to a local elementary school to display our cars. It's like a community day event. And we had the cars on display, and the children, the entire school walked around, they look at the cars, and our president asked a young lady about a girl about 7 or 8 years old, what her favorite car was. And she pointed to my car. And he's like, that belongs to a woman. And, and he pulled me over and he introduced us, and her mouth dropped open and tears immediately started strolling down her cheeks. And I hugged her, and of course so tears were rolling down my cheeks as well. And in that moment, I think this young queen learned that you can do exactly what men can do. You can accomplish the things that men can accomplish, but you can still do it and maintain your femininity, your grace, your compassion. And I think it was just a teaching moment for her. This is why I do what I do. I love to see the influence I have on young girls, young women, older women. I've had a woman tell me, she's probably old enough to be my mom, has told me that she bought a Corvette because of me, because she saw me. So, I just love the impact that I have on the community and what people see, and I try to lead by example.
So here's my Corvette story. As they say, don't judge me. But the last time I sat in a Corvette was in the parking lot of a TV station I was working for in 1990. Not sat in one since. And I just sat in it. And I will say that after sitting in the driver's seat for about, 2 or 3 minutes, I thought to myself, why even think about getting married if you have this car that you can sit in and the seat hugs you the way it hugs you? Because that seat felt amazing. I must say that was the most comfortable car seat I've ever sat in. But even back then, I knew I couldn't afford it. Listen, I need to take a break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about car clubs, about your club, and I have a whole lot of Corvette questions as well. So please stay with us. The Daily Drum will continue on Sirius XM, channel 141 and 96.3 HD2. In just a few seconds, I want to remind our listeners that you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR. We'll be back in a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our conversation about car clubs. My guests are Michael Summers, founding member and president of the Top Flight Corvette Club, Pocahontas Thompson, vice president, and club member Tommy Ratliff. Before the break, I was joking, but just a little bit, about just when you talk about Corvettes, just how amazing that seat was. And it was a new one. Like I said, this was back in 1990. So I want to ask each of you, and I'll start with you, Tommy. What are you driving? What year, what model is your Corvette?
Well, my first Corvette was a 1987 Corvette. I bought it from Jack Weingarten Chevrolet. And my wife back then, we were just getting started, and she would say, "What does a married man need with a Corvette?" And I said, "Well, Brendan," I said, this is a sports car. I had a pickup truck, but I just wanted that two-seater. I just thought they were cool. And I purchased that car, and I kept it for a while. And the next thing you know, I don't have about 5 other Corvettes. I currently drive now 2019 Z06 convertible. So I just enjoy them.
Okay.
It's just freedom when you're out there behind that steering wheel, and it just, you just drive on, and whatnot. So I really enjoy it.
Well, Michael, what's your Corvette story? Besides, like me, I'm sure you enjoy having the wind blowing through your hair and
yeah.
All right. You got jokes.
Yes, I do.
Well, my oldest brother, he had a 58 fuel injected. And I never forget when he told me he was going to get one. I sat on the front of the stairs at our place up in New York, just sitting there all day waiting for him to come home with that car. And I never forget, the fuel injectors had a certain sound. So I heard him coming around the corner, and I got so excited. He took me for a ride. I just hung out with him all day. And I said, when I get old enough, I'm getting one of these cars. And he said, well, you got to go to school or you got to go to trade school, but you just can't buy this. So I've had 5. I have currently a 67 Corvette, and I have a 2000. And the 2000 is getting old, but I still enjoy it. I just enjoy driving that car. So, I've been hooked on it since I was a kid. I knew I was going to have one. So, and like I said, the first one that I purchased, I purchased it up in Baltimore. I was in college. I was up at Morgan State, and I was reading the Sunday. I can't think of the name of the Sunday paper. Anyway, the Sun.
The Baltimore Sun.
The Baltimore Sun, and there was an ad for this Corvette, $1,750. He had just wrecked it. It was going to be a shotgun wedding. You remember those? And I had just won a lawsuit, so I had the money, and I picked up the car. My cousin worked on cars, and he did body and fender work, and I took the car over to this body shop over on Upshur, Sidnor's Auto Body, and they put a new clip on there, and you couldn't tell me nothing. I drove that thing up on campus, and I was it.
I would imagine so.
18.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were.
And I had hair.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with the bowling ball look now. Yeah.
Oh, I'm good with it.
Pocahontas, what is your Corvette story, and what are you driving?
Yeah, so I always wanted a Corvette. Like I said, I'm a car girl, so it's America's sports car. I always wanted a Corvette. I purchased my first Corvette in 2019, and I've had 5 since then. I'm embarrassed to say. But I have a problem. Forgive me. But
you need
um,
to talk to somebody about that.
I do. I need help. But now I'm driving a 2025 Z06
Z06.
convertible.
Mhm.
And I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. It is by far the best I've owned thus far. So I'm super excited about it. But it's I love them. I'll always have a Corvette as long as God blesses me to be in that position. I will always have a Corvette.
So you said something that I was struck by. You said that it is the best so far, besides the fact that it's new,
Mm-hmm.
the latest model. Why is it the best compared to those that you've had before?
670 horsepower. So it's the fastest one I've owned.
Mm-hmm.
And it truly drives like a supercar. I mean, the performance of the vehicle is as far surpasses anyone that I've owned thus far. I'm a speed demon. I like driving fast but safe. But yeah, so it's the highest performing Corvette I've owned.
Yeah, I noticed. I didn't know whether you said surpasses or passes because. Tommy, did you hear that? I wasn't quite sure where she was going.
Yeah, I got 660, so she was 650, so she's 670.
Wow.
Horsepower, yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going
I have
to ask.
300.
Yes, I need to ask, and because I've got to get into Pocahontas' business, only because she has a late model, and like I said, listen, I've seen them, and I think that they are extraordinarily beautiful vehicles. And let me back up just a little bit. I remember as a kid, and we would see guys in the neighborhood where I grew up in Lanham, the young guys in their 20s, when we were very young, 12, 13, 14, and we would see them driving the old Corvette Stingray. And that's the one that I remembered. And we liked them because we likened them to, now I'm going to take you all the way back to the Mach 5 in the Speed Racer cartoons, because that's what it reminded us of. But I do remember they were beautiful cars. They were fast cars. They were very, very unique. But the ones that we're seeing now that are, they remind me more of Ferraris. I mean, the new body style is incredible. But Pocahontas, how much do those cars cost? Yeah, it brought tears to your eyes just thinking about it. I noticed you.
All depends on which one you're talking about.
So, my club members will tell you I am private to a fault. But yeah, this one is the current one I have now is $146,000.
It's $146,000.
Correct.
So, are you living in your car?
Not yet.
I mean, and listen, like I said, I'm not so much just asking. No, I'm not asking to get into your business. I'm really asking for those who have not gone online and asked, but are curious. And because as we all know, all cars are expensive right now. I mean, even if you just buy, an economy car, Japanese made car, used Honda, Toyota, what have you, Ford, everything is expensive. And these are expensive toys because, as Tommy said, when he bought his first one, he had a truck. He had a mode of transportation, obviously, but he bought a very even at that time, a very expensive
That
toy.
was only 32,000 back then.
Exactly, but it's all relative, certainly, and
Mhm.
you wanted to keep your relative, including your wife back then. But
He still has her.
yeah, there you go. I'm sure she just said you can ride to Haynes Point, but don't get crazy.
Yeah.
So but I was just thinking about, when you have a very expensive toy. I was in Waldorf a couple of years ago, and I was behind one of those newer ones, and it went over a speed bump and scraped the undercarriage. And I wanted to hold a car vigil for the brother who was driving that car, because I knew, I heard it, I saw it happen. And so, I say all of this to say that these are kind of the considerations, Michael, that people need to have when they are, investing in this kind of indulgence.
Well, there's all levels. I mean, sure, Pocahontas costs 6 figures, but that's what they go for today. Now, I always tell people, fit in where you can. You can. There's 8 generations. She's driving a C8. So if that doesn't fit your budget, look at the C5, C6, C7, or just look at the basic Stingray. She's driving a Z06.
Mhm.
So that's a different ball game. But I mean, we drive these cars to have fun because we enjoy them, but it's not so much the cars. I mean, we're a Corvette club. We definitely are. But we enjoy each other's company. We take trips. We plan trips. We're pretty structured. A lot of the guys in our club were in the service, and we plan trips with the cars, long distance trips. We show up to different car shows. But most importantly, how we are able to survive is our blessings that we have by giving back to the community. And we put on several different events to make this happen. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on that, Pocahontas.
Yeah, please do.
You want us to? Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pocahontas.
I'd love to. I mean, so we have several fundraising events a year. I mean, a lot of our funds are raised by membership dues, but we also have a all Corvette show, which is June 14th this year at Fort Washington Chevrolet. And we have our all white affair, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year, which will be at Martin's Crosswinds on July 26th this year. If you would like tickets, you can email us at tfcorvetteclub@gmail.com.
Hold on. Say that
sure.
one more time, please.
So the White Affair, you can get tickets at tfcorvetteclub at gmail.com. And that's on July 26th at Martin's Crosswinds, 8 to 12. Dinner included. We have an amazing time. We give away a 55-inch television or more or larger. Giveaways. We dance the night away. It's an amazing time. We also have an all car show where we welcome all vehicles, all makes and models, and that is going to be September 13th or 20th. So this fall, keep an eye out. You can visit our website for information, which is topflightcorvetteclub.com, and please, help us help the community. That is our mission. That is what we are passionate about, and your support helps us achieve that goal.
So for example, your all white affair. If I drive a hoopty, that means I can't come.
Don't mean a thing. Come on in. Now, once you're in the place, if you come, Hal, once you start talking, they're going to say, "Wait a minute, you're that guy."
Yeah, the guy who drives the hoopty.
You're welcome to come.
Well,
everyone's welcome.
I appreciate that. All jokes aside, for those who want to join your club, and I'm sure that there are requirements for all kinds of car clubs, and obviously I'm sure you have to own a Corvette, but are there other requirements that you have to adhere to join?
Absolutely. What we look for is, number one, you have to have a Corvette that runs.
Okay.
You have to be able to pay your dues promptly. We do have dues. But we also ask you to come out to our meeting to make sure this is a good fit for you. And we want to make sure it's a good fit for Top Flight organization, because we've been blessed not to have any problems with the members that we have thus far. So we'll
problems,
actually,
when you say problems, like what would be a problem that would prevent someone from joining?
How I could name so many. I mean, but
obviously,
if you don't fit in, if you have this personality where you have a anger management problem, or you're disrespectful to our members, to our women in the club. I mean, we hold the utmost respect for the ladies in the club. We have the ladies, and we have to maintain respect at all times for them. And we look at them as our sisters, and we love them. So we always want to make sure that you fit in with us, but we want you to come out and ride with us, be a part of this, but also understand that we like to give back to the community. We don't want you to be stuck on yourself, because it's not about you. It's about Top Flight and what we do as an organization.
I guess I was thinking, and obviously manners, common courtesy, respect. Yeah, I would think certainly that is definitely the foundation. That's the floor. But I was wondering, what if somebody had a DUI or something like that? Would that be something that would prevent them from joining the club? What if they had a lot of speeding tickets or something like that, or something that would make you question whether or not they are safe drivers? Are any of those things considerations?
Well, if you had several speeding tickets and you demonstrated that you like to go fast and cut people off on the Beltway when we're taking trips together, you're not for us. We're not for you. If you're out of line and you're using profanity in front of women and children on a regular, if you're disrespecting people in the public, you're not for us. It just doesn't. It's not going to work. We're pretty laid back, but we enjoy each other. But we want to make sure that you understand that it's not about you. You need to fit in with us. You need to make sure you fit. So if you don't come with high standards, and if you don't respect yourself and the people around you, you're not a good fit.
And I think that, we are talking about automobiles, motor vehicles, or what have you, and so I would imagine, Tommy, this is about safety first. And so what kind of conversations? And I don't mean as it relates to disciplinary or chastising anyone, but for someone who was first entering the club, what, if any, kind of conversations are members having about safety? Because we know there are so many cars on the road these days, and unfortunately, those of us who are signaling and driving at the speed limit and all of these other things are very concerned about the craziness that we see on the roads.
And just to piggyback on what Mike was saying a few minutes ago, that if a new member comes in the club, that's why we ask them to go on at least 2 to 3 rides, so we can see how they act in the traffic. We just did a trip to Detroit last year. About maybe 15, 16 of us went up. I'm a road captain, and we talk about safety prior to going. So in other words, wherever you start out in your lane, that's where you stay till you get to Detroit. So you don't be just jumping in front of someone. We have that type of code with us when we travel. So we have like radios, we have someone in the middle, we have someone in the rear, someone in the front. So if everybody's coming off the exit and someone gets left behind, we get on the radio and say, slow down. So that person doesn't have to drive 100 miles an hour to try to catch up with us. So these are some of the things that we put in line before we get out there and whatnot.
And, you know, I think it's important that you mention that, because I don't think, again, for those who are on the outside who are admirers of the cars and also admirers of the clubs, that they understand that the stereotype may not, at least, you know, in your particular club, and I'm sure this is the case with other clubs as well, that the stereotype is not the reality.
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And whatnot. So I mean, we have been fortunate. We have been out there a long time. We haven't had any accidents or whatnot. And you know, we meet the third week of every month, and we just talk about things when we open up the floor to anybody who want to talk about something. So a lot of things are resolved right there at the meetings. When we talk
So
about
this is, and I'll ask the youngest person in this conversation, because again, as I said, this is a multi-generational organization, but from a younger enthusiast position, and this is less about Corvettes, Pocahontas, and more just about car clubs, because we have seen, for example, in Northern Virginia and in Montgomery and Prince George's and in other parts, you know, we have these car meetups, and where people are doing, you know, donuts and doing this kind of unsafe activity, and this has become a problem. What impact do those unsafe activities by very, very young drivers, no matter what cars they're driving, what does that have on your club and even, you know, members of other responsible clubs that you all are talking to?
Excuse me. I have not seen much impact other than just the stereotype that, you know, car clubs go fast. And what we do is we lead by example. You know, we make sure that we, as Tommy mentioned earlier, we drive safe. We make sure that we're together. It's very important to Top Flight that we represent not only car clubs but our community, but you know the industry. We want to represent as positively as we possibly can. So we lead by example. We take our time. You know, we drive safely. You know, when we see young people driving recklessly, you know, I have seen members have a conversation with them about it, you know, to try to guide them to safer driving and being more responsible. And we just lead by example. Mm-hmm.
So at 670 horsepower,
back on that.
Yes, let's get back to that. And again, you know, I've been having a lot of fun with you all, but if there has to be a place where you can air it out, obviously not on 495 driving through Temple Hills, not on Marlboro Pike, or, you know, Michael, not on East Cold Spring Road driving through Morgan's campus. But that's right. If you know, you know. Where do you go? Are there tracks where you can take your cars and put on a helmet and just because you, like I said, if you're going to own an expensive tour, if you're going to be an enthusiast, you do want to go somewhere where you can really just let it all hang out. Where does that happen, Miss 670 horsepower?
I have been to the track in Chesapeake Beach. I've been to Master Custom Tees, excuse me. track, and that's where I would sustain a higher speed. But on the road, 0 to 60, that's it.
Right.
I mean, you get, I have just as much fun getting to 0 to 60 in seconds and then just staying at 55, 60 and cruising from that point on. And Tommy will know, he also has a Z06, a C706, but you can get the 0 to 60. You can see where, you can see in front, it's a quarter mile. You can see a quarter mile. You can see in front of you anything that's happening, if there are any side streets or any cars in front of you. So that's really where I have my fun, 0 to 60. And then I'm cruising after that point. I'm not, there's no way I could, drive, to full capacity on the streets.
Well, that's what I meant, and that's why I was asking. There has to be a place legal, like the track, and not legal, not just legally, but safely.
Yes, also, the racetracks.
The name slips me, but when you purchased a Z06 in the past, right? Say it again.
Ron Fellows in Las Vegas. Yes.
Yes. Elaborate on that.
So it's a driving school in Las Vegas where you can go out and they allow you to drive their cars, so you can fly out and they teach you all about the car. So you have a class. I think it's 3 days. I think I may be speaking on that, but it's a class you take. You pay a fee and you go out and they teach you from bumper to bumper. Every little detail about the car and all the car can do, and they let you open it up and have a good time with the car. So,
well. I want to thank you all for spending just a little bit of time with me and talking not only about your club, about safety, but also what you're doing in the community. Particularly, the stories about young people, because you don't know how you can positively influence them until it happens. And when it happens, you in some way, shape, or form become as responsible in that moment for their development as you are responsible for taking care of your car. So Michael Summers, Tommy Ratliff, Pocahontas Thompson, thank you all so much. Please continue to drive safely and do the things that you have been doing for the community with the club. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
That is the Daily Drum for this Thursday, May 29th. I'm Harold Fisher.